Welcome back to Authentically Us. It's the week of April 11th, 2022. I would like to thank those of you who listened to and left really nice comments about our last episode with Victoria Pereira. Please keep them coming. This episode with Tracy Bailey is rather long, and it required a lot of my time to put together. It's perfectly fine with me if you can't get through all of it all at once. Tracy and I had a lot of fun reminiscing on the 1990s. I know that you'll love it. My apologies for not uploading these last few weeks. Life got pretty busy and took up a lot of my time. Make sure you're following us on Instagram at Authentically Us Podcast. You can email us at authenticallyuspodcast@gmail.com. And if you truly believe in living authentically, please support us on Patreon. There we are Authentically Us Podcast. You can Venmo me at Lanae8199. That's LANAE 8199. Sharing this with others is also a good way to help. Or if you'd like to show your appreciation by buying me a cup of coffee, you can do that too. We greatly need your support in order to consistently give all of you quality content. Thank you. Enjoy Living in the 90s, Part 1, with my guest, Tracy Bailey. Tonight, we are going to be living in the 90s. True that. On with me, I have Tracy. I met her on YouTube not too long ago. She actually did a video that really captured that decade of the 90s, and I was so moved by it. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome my special guest, Tracy, to the show. Hello, Tracy.
Hi, thank you.
You're welcome. I'm so glad you were able to come on and talk with us for a little while. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for having me. I'm so glad to be here.
Yes, absolutely. So, Tracy, where are you from?
I am from Huntsville, Alabama.
Born and raised?
Yeah, born and raised.
Wow. Nice. Okay. Well, I'm currently living in Florida right now, so we're not too far from each other. I think you're in Central Time and I'm in Eastern Time currently.
Yeah, we're neighbors.
Okay. We're both 80s babies. I was born in 1981. Tracy, if she doesn't mind saying it.
I'm 84. I'm right behind you.
Yeah, you are about 3 years. Okay. Nice. All right. So some of you may not remember the 90s very well, or maybe not at all. Maybe you weren't born during that time, but it was a great decade. I feel like, in a lot of ways, that our society peaked right after the 90s
Yes.
ended.
Yes.
That's my opinion. Right after 9/11, things just weren't the same, to be honest.
That
Do you
that was
agree?
the shift, yes. I agree. I was just telling my children the other day, they were talking about how the world has changed since the pandemic happened. And I told him, I said, it reminds me of when I was young and 9/11 happened. And we knew that we could get back to some sort of normalcy, but we knew that
Yes.
whatever was before that day, we wouldn't be there anymore. We wouldn't see that anymore. There's never been another time like the 90s.
Yeah, the 90s had its problems too, life wasn't all roses.
Mm-mm.
There was just less to worry about. You could live your life and not have to worry so much about the future.
It was just different. You had to be there.
Yes, you had to be there. We'll start the decade off mentioning Nelson Mandela when he was freed from the South African prison after 27 years at age
hmm
72. I don't know if you remember that. We were quite young during that time. I was about 8 or 9. It was on February 11th, 1990.
I remember when he got out. I was going on 6 at the time. I didn't really understand that situation. I didn't know why this man had been locked up, why he was, getting out, and why the whole world was watching and celebrating. I remember seeing it on the news.
Yes.
I don't know if you remember on the Cosby Show when they named the twins Nelson and Winnie.
Yes.
My parents were telling me that they named the twins after Nelson Mandela and his wife.
I never knew that. That's interesting.
And so
Nice.
that's what I knew. I was like, oh, okay, the twins are named after them. But
Yeah.
I didn't know who they were. And a couple of years later, the movie Serafina came out.
I've never seen that.
Whoopi Goldberg was actually in it. And they
Oh,
filmed it
was
in
she?
South Africa. And it was about the apartheid over there. And so my parents took me to see it. And they were explaining to me how it was similar to the civil rights movement here.
Mm-hmm.
And so and then that's when I really started kind of putting things together about, okay, wow, all this man went through just trying
Yes.
to basically just exist and be free. So,
Right. Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah, because he was against apartheid. He was. More than a quarter of a million people showed up to hear him give his speech that day, too.
Wow.
And he became president of South Africa in 1994, and
Mhm.
apartheid ended.
I remember that when they had the election.
Right.
I
Yeah, I
remember.
remember that too. But there still are conditions left over from apartheid that are still alive and well, even today in South Africa. Africans who are indigenous to the continent of Africa own and control only a small percentage of the wealth, whereas the Europeans who colonized Africa own and control most of the wealth in South Africa. And a lot of this is due to poor leadership. Even the Chinese have been allowed to come in to Africa and set up businesses and buy land very easily. There's definitely something wrong with this because they wouldn't allow Africans to go to their native country and do the same things that they're doing in Africa. Africa has a lot of resources. That's what they're after. The continent of Africa can stand on its own. It doesn't need to import or export goods and services to have a sustainable economy. Do you remember Milli Vanilli at all?
Let me tell
The
you,
duo?
today, Milli Vanilli came on Pandora when I was going down the street.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I was like, girl, you know it's true. I was going in.
Ooh, 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 I love
Love you.
you. Yeah. That was the first CD that we bought. My dad bought it back in 1989. He paid $15 for it. I remember the day he brought it
Wow.
home. And that was the first CD that we bought back in 89. I know that's not the 90s quite. In 1990, remember they won the Grammy
And
and
then everything just fell
they
apart.
later found out that year. Yeah, they found out that they did not sing on the album, oddly enough.
I remember that they had the skit on In Living Color
Yeah.
when
It
they were
takes
joking
two
on them.
jerks to be Milli Vanilli.
Yes,
Now
yes.
we're doing the Milli
And they were
Vanilli.
like, hurry up and order our kits before we go out of
Yeah.
style.
I remember that. Yeah, that kind of did it for them. I remember that press conference that they were having when they were giving the Grammy back.
Yeah, that was so sad.
It was sad, and I felt.
Rob was like, we have to give our Grammy back?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was so terrible. I remember they were like just a joke.
Yeah, the thing is, though, it was actually the producer. He was the
Right.
mastermind behind this whole thing. His name was Frank Farian, I believe. But they took the fall
Yes.
for it because they're out
I remember
front.
on Behind the Music, they interviewed the guy. He was basically trying to justify what he did, but I felt like he left them hanging
Mhm.
majorly.
He did. He did. And they had no idea they were going to be that
Right.
big. They just wanted to make some money because they were
Right. They were
struggling, like
poor.
most of us are. Right. They didn't know and they didn't want to win the Grammy. Do you remember the looks on their
Yeah,
faces when they won
I
the
remember.
Grammy for Best New Artist back in
Yes.
1990?
They never imagined it was gonna go that far.
Right. Yeah, they didn't. And I just hate that the way that a lot of the public responded to them. Remember, they were bulldozing, running over
Mhm.
their CDs and tapes and doing things like that. But I was thinking, I'm a kid at the time. I'm about 9 years old. The music is still the same. In my opinion, it's still
Yeah.
good
I
music.
love Milli Vanilli.
It's better than a lot of the stuff that's out
Mhm.
today,
I love them
you
even
know.
today. I love Milli Vanilli. I hate that happened
So
to
do
them.
I. My dad still has his CD, and I have a CD of it, and I have a copied tape, and I have it in my iPhone. So Milli Vanilli forever.
That's right. I have a cassette. So
Wow. I kept a lot of my cassettes from the 90s too. Do you remember Rodney King, the video back in 1991?
I didn't see it right when it happened. What I saw first was the riot. I saw it was a news special and my parents were watching it and I remember seeing the people looting and everything and again I'm just like, "Hey, y'all, what's going on?" And they were explaining to me what happened to Rodney King. And then I saw the video on a news program. I remember him, at the press conference and everybody started saying, "Can't we all
We
just
all
get
just get
along?"
along, yeah.
Yeah.
Remember the riots happened, yeah, the riots happened in 92, and he was actually beaten by those LAPD officers in 1991, a year before the LA riots. And there was a guy with a video camera who videotaped the whole thing of them beating him. And sure, yes, I know he had had run ins with the law before, but that didn't justify those LAPD officers all beating him and him not posing a threat to their lives.
Right, because that's when they got acquitted, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I was about 10 years old at the time, and seeing that on TV, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Police officers
mhm.
beating this guy who was unarmed.
Yeah, I never seen anything like that.
Yeah,
I haven't.
before that time,
Mm-mm.
I always thought that police officers were always looking out for everyone's best interests, that they were there to serve and protect.
Exactly. You talk about being a policeman or a fireman or something like that. They were looked at like heroes. To
Yes,
see them doing that, I'm just like, why? I was so confused.
I was too. Yeah, you imagine being a kid seeing that though.
And I
Yeah,
remember watching that on the news, just thinking about, those things are still going on all these years later.
sadly, there's actually a documentary on YouTube called LA 92.
Oh,
They
I
cover a
watched that.
lot of. Have you seen it?
Yes. Oh, it was
I
powerful.
haven't seen all of it yet. Was it good?
It was excellent. I watched it on TV.
Okay. I know that it was based around the Rodney King case and a lot of the other stuff that was going on during that time.
They went into just how the tensions started building between African American community there and the Asian community. The
Yes.
young lady that was murdered by the Korean shop owner.
She was 15 or something like that,
Yeah,
right?
she was 15.
Yeah, so sad.
They just showed, the different events, and then it finally all just boiled over. And I was just like, wow.
Yeah, I didn't even know about the 15-year-old girl who was murdered at the
Mm-mm.
convenience store buying orange juice.
Hmm. I didn't know about her until I was grown.
Really? Yeah, I just found out while I
Yeah.
watched some of the documentary. The lady who shot
Hmm.
her didn't serve any time. All she did was community service, if I
Hmm.
remember correctly.
Yeah, that was when I saw that documentary. That's when I learned about her and
Hmm.
and the lack of punishment for the woman that murdered her, and I just couldn't believe it because I'm like, I've never heard this.
Yeah. I'm going to watch all of the documentary at some point, but I get triggered by things like that. So I have to watch things like that in small doses.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Me too,
yeah,
cuz those things it's hard. It's very hard.
absolutely. How about in late 1991 when Magic Johnson publicly came out as HIV positive?
Mm.
Do you remember
Mhm.
that at all?
I do. I remember I was riding in the car with my parents while a song was playing and it was like breaking news, Magic Johnson. I remember that day, that moment. I was in the back seat and my parents were like, "What? Magic?"
Yeah,
It was just like, "What are they saying?"
yeah, and a lot of the players, well, some of I know Carl Malone, the mailman who played for the Utah Jazz. I think he
Mhm.
did not want to play against Magic because of that.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, back then, AIDS was still kind of in its early stages, and there was still a lot that people didn't know
Mhm.
about it because you can't catch it from,
Oh yeah.
touching someone
Back
or
then, yeah, oh my goodness. I remember they said just a certain group would get that disease.
right,
And
gay
so
people.
then right, and then other people started getting it.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
even Ryan White, the young man
Yes, I remember
that
Ryan
Michael
White.
Jackson was friends with,
Right.
and he died. It's like, okay, what about
Yep.
this boy? Because they acted like it was like leprosy or something,
Right.
or some type of punishment or something.
Yeah, because Ryan White got it through a blood transfusion, remember? And rapper Eazy-E died from AIDS in 1995.
Right. They would tell us, you can get it from drinking after somebody. They're sitting on the toilet after somebody that had it, and just all kind of misinformation. I remember that, being told this.
Yeah, there were some people that were saying that it's God's way of punishing those who were gay.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. They
Which is
made it
crazy.
like it was a punishment for being gay or being a drug user. They just made it this real dark thing, like, oh, this is God's judgment on you. And I mean, even as a kid, I'm just like, what? you know, it didn't
Yes.
make any sense to me.
Yeah, and the thing is, AIDS is still out there. You don't really hear much about it now, but
Mhm.
it affects more of us now in the African Americans than it did back then. Back then, it was mostly Caucasians who were getting it.
Mhm.
The script has flipped since that time,
Yeah.
sadly. Yeah. We mentioned the LA riots. Did you watch any of that on TV at all, or
Mhm.
you
I
did?
did. I wondered, why are these people breaking into the stores and taking all of this stuff, setting things on fire? I watched the broadcast when Reginald Denny was taken from his truck and beaten.
No, I don't. Okay, yeah, I didn't see that actually. I remember when all of this was happening, but I have two sisters. We were sheltered as kids, so there was a lot that my parents kept from us.
Oh, wow.
But I did see the Rodney King beating, but I didn't really see what was happening or taking place during the LA riots until I got older.
Yeah, I saw it, just watching the news with my parents. It looked very scary to me because it actually looked like a war. It looked like maybe it was a war in a third world country.
Yes,
And my parents were telling me, no, this is Los Angeles.
right.
Because, I was maybe 7 or 8 when that happened.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
it was scary to me.
Yeah, for kids to see something like that too. Ugh. 1992 was definitely one of those years of the 90s that sticks out. Society was going through a change at that
Hmm.
time. We were transitioning from the 80s into the 90s. I don't think the 90s officially began as far as societal and lifestyle changes until around 1992. 1990 and 1991 we were still pretty much living in the 80s for the most part.
Oh, yeah. Even fashion.
Yes, fashions too, and musical stylings, yes.
Yeah, that's why when people have 90s parties,
Mhm.
I get irritated if I see a movie based on the 90s. maybe it's supposed to be 98 or 99, but they're dressed as if they're in 91 or 92.
Yeah.
And it makes me mad because I'm
Yeah.
like, that is not how we were dressing in the late
Exactly.
90s. But in their mind, they're like, well, if it's the 90s, it's the 90s. Like, no, there's a difference.
Yeah, did you see that special that show on MTV? It was on I guess MTV's app or something like that. It was called 90s House. Lance Bass from NSYNC and Christina Milian were hosting it.
No, no, I haven't seen that.
I watched it. I don't watch MTV anymore. It was actually good, but on the show, they were wearing all these neon colors. I'm like, we did not dress like that in the 90s, at least not here in the East Coast.
No, we didn't either.
Yeah, it didn't really make sense to me.
Mm-mm.
The clothes, I didn't see any grunge or, hip hop clothes or anything like
Right.
that. Nothing like that. They were just dressed in like neon sweatsuits and things like that. Wardrobe didn't really
Mm-mm.
fit.
No, I don't know where they got that idea.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, in 92, Bill Clinton was elected president. I don't know if, well, I'm sure you remember that too. We were
Mhm.
both there.
I remember that, and the reason I remember Bill is because I thought he was so cool
I thought he was
watching
too.
him
I
play his
thought
saxophone.
on Arsenio Hall.
Yeah, when he was on Arsenio, and I said, "Wow, I want him to be president. He's cool." And
Mm-hmm.
I remember him eating at
Yep.
McDonald's and hanging out, and that was right up my alley. I'm like, a Big Mac, you hanging with Arsenio, and they started calling him the first black
Right.
president. You remember that?
Right. We did, which he was not. A lot of people
No.
don't know this, but Bill Clinton and even Joe Biden, who's in office now, they're responsible for mass incarceration during the 90s. That 94 crime bill that put more police officers on the street, built more prisons. They purposely targeted inner city communities, such as the black community, and a lot of us went away for that.
Wow,
For a nonviolent offense, you could get 60, 70 years in prison behind bars, spend the rest of your life there.
it's ridiculous. You look at the Constitution, and it tells you right there they want us back in slavery because they're like slavery is abolished except
For in the prison
as
system. Right, in
punishment.
the prison system.
And so that's why they're like, okay, we can't do it this way, so let's get them the other way.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, but I'm glad that a lot of us now, especially us Gen X, millennials, and the generation after that, we're not falling for the pandering, like playing a saxophone
Uh-uh.
on Arsenio Hall or getting some ignorant rapper
Uh-uh.
to tell us to vote or something like that. A lot of us aren't falling for
No.
that anymore. We actually want something that's
Mm-mm.
tangible, which is good.
Exactly. That's right. No lip service or gimmicks. Just what are you
Exactly.
gonna do? You know?
They can pay the Asian community and give them protections, give them a bill, but us who have suffered the worst treatment in the history of mankind on American soil have
Hmm.
gotten nothing. And America's being
Wow.
judged for that, in my opinion. Do you remember that skit that they did on In Living Color with Jim Carrey? It was Bill Clinton doing Bobby Brown's humping around. Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember
Oh,
that
that
one.
was so funny. It was probably one of their funniest sketches on that show.
Anything with Jim
Yeah,
Carrey.
Jim Carrey was funny, and you had Jamie Foxx was rapping. J Lo was one of the Fly Girls. She was in it. Sean Waynes was in it. It was you. It's on YouTube. You have to find it.
I will look that up.
It's Bill Clinton humping around.
I will look it up.
Yeah, the album under the video title was "Too Much Lust to Trust" on Infidelity Records. Monica Lewinsky.
Yep, I was about to say, was that about Monica?
Little bit before Monica, because remember Monica.
Oh, that's before the
Yeah,
scandal.
Monica was in the late
Oh, she
90s.
was in his second term, right?
Yeah, remember it was Jennifer Flowers, I believe, and maybe Paula Jones,
Hmm.
one of those women.
Yeah, Paula Jones. I
Yeah,
remember her.
remember the Kenneth Starr report?
Yes. And oh, what's her name? Goodness. The one who gave Monica
Linda
Linda
Tripp.
Linda Tripp.
I got it.
And they had John Goodman play her on SNL.
Oh, did they? Wow,
Yes.
I didn't see that one.
It was a hot
It
mess.
was the Clinton crisis.
I remember that the blue dress.
Yeah, I forgot all
I
about the
remember
blue
Bill
dress.
Bill was questioned when he went in for the what was it, the congressional hearing,
Hmm.
and he had a smirk on his face like, y'all know I'm lying. I know I'm lying, but we're just gonna do this
Yeah,
anyway.
because he said I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Right.
I guess he was referring to, what actually took place. He didn't really consider that as being sexual relations,
Right.
technically speaking. Or maybe he was referring to Hillary when he said that.
I was just like, wow. I remember when all that went down.
It was a fiasco, but we had a pretty good economy during that time, though. We really did.
We did.
Yeah.
We did.
So let's talk about 1994. What's the first thing that comes to mind when you think about the year
OJ.
Exactly, OJ.
I remember that
The
night.
chase.
TGIF
Uh
was
huh.
on. And Full House was just about to come on after Family Matters. And then they break in and there's the chase. And that was on for the rest of the night. I was so bitter.
It was during the NBA Finals, I thought.
It was, I
It
remember
was
seeing
near
it
on the
was a
weekend,
Friday night.
yeah. But he was in the white
Mhm.
Bronco and running from the police.
Yes. Because even Dateline came on like what, like 8 or 9 or something like
Yes.
that. And I remember on Dateline, instead of talking about what they planned to talk about, it was about OJ.
Yeah, yeah.
I told my mom, I'm like, I don't care. What happened to my show? You know,
I have something to admit
I'm
to
like,
you.
who is this man?
Exactly. I did not know who OJ Simpson was prior to 1994, the summer of
I did
94.
not know OJ. I didn't know that I knew him. I didn't know that I saw him in Roots. I
Oh,
didn't
he was
know
in
that I
Roots?
saw him in a Naked Gun. Yeah,
Oh,
he
yeah,
was
he was.
briefly in
And he
Roots.
was in Naked Gun, you're right.
Uh-huh. And so I didn't realize that was the same man. And so my parents were like, "Yeah, he was a big football star,
Yeah, that's what
and
my
this
dad
is
told
this is
me.
terrible." And they were telling me about what happened to his wife and her friend, and I'm looking like, just I'm a kid, and I'm like, I don't care about any of that. Where's my show?
Right.
Because I didn't know what was going on with them. My great aunt used to get me the Inquirer. I wrote the Inquirer. I mean, excuse me, I read the
Uh-huh.
Inquirer and Globe and all those
The Star. Yeah, the
tabloids.
tabloids.
Yes,
So you're
Star.
a tabloid junkie.
Yes, oh my
That's a
goodness.
Michael Jackson
I
song.
loved reading them.
Really?
And
Do you still read them?
that's how I found out about OJ. I gave that up a long time
Good.
ago
I recommend giving up
cuz
the
it's
news too
just
if you
it's
haven't.
trash.
Yeah, the news is
It's
garbage too
trash.
now too.
Yeah, I don't
Mainstream news.
I watch the news to see what the weather is going to be.
Yeah, I check my phone now or just walk outside.
Yeah, me too. Yes, on my phone I have this thing that says Huntsville weather.
Hmm.
I'll hit that and see how I need to dress in the
Yeah, yeah. I was like, OJ who? Who is that? Remember Geraldo, every day his show was about OJ. He really wanted OJ to be put away.
I don't know what year that was when he just fell off, when he went to the tomb and there was nothing there. Was
Oh,
it a
Al
tomb or
Capone's
something?
vault. That was back in the 80s.
Yeah, his vault.
Yeah, Al Capone's vault, and
Yeah.
there was nothing in there.
So that's all I knew
That was
about
around
Geraldo.
86, I think. Yeah. Remember someone broke his nose on national TV too.
I remember that. I do remember that.
Yeah, I think it was
And
some white
my aunt,
supremacist.
she loved Geraldo.
She did. I think my
And
mother and
yeah,
sister would watch it sometime.
she loved him. But I mean, I was just like, okay. But I like Montel and Donahue and
Yeah,
of
Montel
course
was good.
Oprah. And I like Ricky Lake.
Yeah, Ricky Lake, the talk shows. Yeah, Donahue was good too. He would have Louis Farrakhan on there at one time. Now Louis Farrakhan, you never see him on
Right.
TV.
Mm-mm. And I just watched that interview not too long ago.
Do you remember where you were on October 3rd, 1995?
Is that the day of the verdict? Yeah.
Yes, it was.
I do remember I was in school.
You were at school that day too.
Yes, we were in school. We didn't get anything done that day. Every class the teacher was talking about the verdict. And I remember the black teachers feeling some type of way and I remember
Yeah.
the white teachers feeling some type of way.
Mhm.
And then when the verdict actually came through, because I remember we were watching it in the gym when it came through. I remember one of my teachers, he was our PE teacher, a white man,
Mhm.
and I remember him just almost exploding. He turned very red and
Oh, really?
he was like, "This is bull," and he was just
Oh.
going off. And we were like, "What's that about?"
Yeah.
But I just remember his reaction,
What
and
grade were you in?
I was in like was it fifth?
Okay,
I
so
want to say no, no. I'm sorry, the beginning of sixth grade, I believe.
I'm sorry, this is slightly off the topic
Hmm.
of OJ. What year did you graduate high school?
2002.
Okay, you're the same year as my younger sister. I graduated in 99. I was in high school when
Okay.
that I was a freshman in high school when that took
Oh
place.
wow.
So you were in the gym, huh? And your teacher, your
Yeah.
coach just what he
He
lost it, huh?
literally exploded. Yes. His assistant was a black woman,
Uh-huh.
and I remember him excuse me, I remember her giving him this look like you ought to be ashamed of yourself. You
Yeah.
know how your mama can look at you,
Mhm.
and she just gave him this look. She didn't say anything, but I remember her looking at him with her arms crossed, like you should really be ashamed,
Like the look of
because he
disgust,
he
huh?
did that. Yeah, she did. He did that in front of everybody.
Wow. Yeah, it definitely struck a nerve with a lot of people. I was in, I think, the ninth grade at the time. I was 14 years old in 1995,
Hmm.
and we were in science class. Luckily, I had a cool teacher. Our teacher was a nice guy. He was kind of young. He was about 32. We called him Mr. Tim until
Hmm.
the principal told us to start calling him by his last name. But we watched the verdict in his class. Honestly, I didn't want OJ to go to jail and be found guilty. I really didn't. There was a lot of racial tension that was going on in the United
Yes,
States during
yes.
that time. Just a few years before with the Rodney King situation, that case. The OJ case, the trial was televised. And I think a year before, one of our class assignments was to write whether or not we think that the trial should be televised. I
Hmm.
remember that. It was in my computer class. That day in science class, the room was silent and everyone was waiting for the verdict. The whole world was watching,
Right,
and
right.
he was found not guilty thanks to the expertise of the late Johnny Cochran.
Hmm.
The glove doesn't fit, you must
You
quit.
must have quit.
Yeah, but deep down, I think OJ may have had a hand in Nicole Brown Simpson. And what was the other guy's name? Goldman?
Ron
Ron Goldman,
Goldman.
yeah. And
Yeah, I
his
feel
death.
the same way.
All the racial tension that was going on in the country, and which it still is occurring today too.
Hmm.
I didn't want to
Same
see him go
thing.
to jail or prison.
I didn't feel like OJ actually killed them.
You didn't?
I I felt like OJ had something to do with it.
Right, like he may have hired a hitman or something.
Yes, I feel like he hired some professionals,
But he
but
had
I
a
don't
hand.
feel like he actually went and stabbed them. No, I don't.
Mm-hmm.
It gets a little murky because you know, everybody was so black or white, cut or
Mm-hmm.
dry, and I was that gray area person where I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't believe he was completely innocent. I don't feel like he actually did it, and that's
Mhm.
where I stood, and still feel like that today.
Yeah. My teacher, he was actually a substitute. He was filling in until we were able to get a permanent teacher, but he was a white guy. But he was very, like I said, he was 32, so he was pretty lenient and I guess more liberal. He seemed that way anyway at the time.
Mhm.
I think that was the only reason why he let us watch the verdict that day too, because I don't know, maybe that's just the kind of guy he was. What I didn't like after he was found not guilty. Instead of reaching out to the black community, you remember what OJ did, right?
Oh, what happened?
Well, he went out to the country club or wherever he would go to play golf, and he played
Oh, yeah, he
golf
went to play
with
golf.
his
I remember that.
with his basically his white buddies.
Uh-huh. I do remember that. I remember my parents discussing that. They were like, "Wow, we came together as a community and supported him throughout this whole ordeal."
Yeah,
And he just goes on back to, what he was doing before.
yeah. I think one time, I don't know if this was before or after the murder, but he said, "I'm not black, I'm OJ."
Mhm. He did say that.
Right.
Yes.
That's a dumb thing to say. I mean,
Right.
wow. That kind of rubbed me the wrong way when he did that. Remember, years later, though, they ended up getting him on something else when I guess he stole back his own
Right.
stuff.
He did. He finally went to prison over stealing his own thing. And I'm just like, "OJ, really?
Yeah, you're such a fool.
Really?"
What? They wanted him behind, he just played right into their hands.
Yes, cuz
What
I'm
young and
like, "You got
stupid.
off for murder."
Yeah. Did you ever see the movie where Cuba Gooding Jr. played OJ? It was on around 2016 on the FX channel.
I remember when it came out and I did not get to watch it. I heard a lot of people talking about it and saying that it was, something I should see. And I never got a chance to see it.
I watched every episode. I tuned in every night. I was
What'd you think about it?
I thought Cuba Gooding Jr. did an excellent job
Mhm.
playing O.J. Simpson. He's a great actor. He may
Yes,
have
he
his
is.
faults with certain things, but he played that part so well.
He is a great actor. Yes.
There you have it. O.J. ends up going to jail anyway. Were you a Nirvana fan at all? The grunge band?
I wasn't a fan, but I went to a predominantly white school
Hmm.
in elementary and middle school,
Yes.
and I knew a lot of Nirvana fans. So I knew about Kurt, I knew about Courtney, and I loved them, but I didn't know anything about their music. I love their personas, I guess you could say.
All right.
Cuz I would see them on MTV all the time, and I knew, of course, Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Yeah, everybody. That's
Yeah,
yeah.
of course I because of the video.
Hmm.
So I knew that, but I wasn't a fan. But I do remember the day he died and all the goth kids were like destroyed.
Oh no, grunge kids, grunge. Remember, the goth kids wore all black, and the grunge look, they wore other colors too, usually.
Oh, excuse me, the grunge kids. That's true. I got to the goth kids in high school. When
Yeah.
we were in middle school, you're right, they were grunge.
Yep. Long hair,
Yeah,
flannel,
the long stringy hair,
beat up
those
Doc Martens.
those jeans, the big jeans.
Yeah, I remember those jeans. Jinkos.
Yeah, yes, thank you. Oh, I couldn't remember the name. Yes.
Yeah.
And then those striped shirts or the flannel with
Yep.
the t-shirt under it
Yeah. The long
and
hair.
those beat up shoes.
Yep. Yeah, I
That's
remember
right.
that.
They were grunge. And
Mhm.
then when I got to high school, all those kids just basically the same outfits, but they were all black. And
Yeah.
they would wear like spikes around their necks and stuff. And they turned goth.
Yeah, the goth kids though, a lot of them were nice though.
They were. I loved hanging around them.
Yeah, they were cool. A lot of them were into Marilyn Manson
Mhm.
back when I was in
And
high school.
that's how I even found out about Marilyn Manson through them.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about that. Other kids would be like, "Why are you talking to them?" But I would hang with anybody. If you're cool, I'm cool with you. I
Yes.
wasn't a cliquish person. I'm just like, if you're cool, you're cool, and that's that.
Yeah.
So,
I'm still that way too.
me too.
It was kind of sad when he killed himself. I think he just couldn't handle the success that he had.
Wow. I didn't know what happened. That's what I wanted to ask you.
Courtney probably drove him crazy too. She was a hot mess
Yeah, she
in a
she
lot
was
of
something
ways.
else.
The queen of grunge, and he was the king of grunge.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. What was her band? Hole.
Yep. Hole.
Uh huh.
Yep. That was them.
Wow, I remember that whole time. We used to listen to them and Garbage, Nine
Yeah.
Inch Nails, and all those
Mhm.
folks.
Yeah. Do you remember the Oklahoma City bombing when that happened back in
Yes,
95?
yes, I remember that. I remember seeing it on the news at my friend's house. We were looking like, is this is something that's happening? We weren't sure what we were looking at,
Yeah.
and we just saw basically the building was gone on the
Mhm.
side. I remember they showed the fireman that was bringing out the baby,
Yeah.
that famous picture.
Mhm.
We were looking like, what happened? I always remember that picture of that baby.
Yeah, and the ex-military guy Timothy McVeigh was the mastermind behind that. And Terry Nichols, who acted as an accomplice. He's currently serving a life sentence.
Okay, I didn't know that he was ex-military. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was executed in 2001. I remember that too. 168 people died from that. Do you remember Channel 1? They would show in schools. It was
What's
mainly junior high and high school back in the early to mid 90s.
Mhm.
Lisa Ling was on
I'm
there
I'm
one
sure we
time.
did watch it.
Yeah, that's how I heard about it on Channel 1 when I was in the eighth
Mhm.
grade or something like that. Yeah, it was sad though to see all of that happen.
It was very sad. I just couldn't believe it.
What about the heat wave that took place that summer in Chicago in 1995? Remember that?
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah, that was big news that summer.
Mhm.
I wasn't living in Chicago at the time. I was in Florida, but I know that was big news and a lot of people were, rushed to the hospital, hospital beds were full and they went into a state of emergency in the city of Chicago during that heat wave that year, that summer.
Wow, did it last all summer?
No, it didn't last all summer. I think it lasts a span of a few days maybe. It was a hot summer. 5 consecutive days of high heat and humidity, and over 700 people died during that time.
Ooh, that's scary. That's my first time hearing of that.
I'm sure you can find the story online, but it was the heat wave, Chicago heat wave of 1995. What about the Million Man March that took place October of the same year?
Yes, I do remember Million Man March. I remember seeing all the different like celebrity men taking part in that, and I thought that was really cool.
Louis Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam organized that event. I think it was amazing how they got a million men together that day without any social media or anything like that.
Right.
After that, President Clinton signed the Telecommunications Act of 1996. And that allowed a lot of radio stations and TV networks to buy smaller ones, smaller media companies.
Mhm.
And that's why after that time, there were certain things that you saw on TV at one time that you no longer saw. The radio stations became more competitive. That's how Clear Channel ended up buying up all those stations back in the 2000s.
And so that was as a result of Clinton.
Yeah, and I think a lot of
Wow.
that was because of the Million Man March. That scared a lot of people.
I'm sure it did.
Yeah, I'm not a Muslim.
Mhm.
At the time, I didn't really like Farrakhan. It's
Yeah.
because the media had painted him in a negative
Mhm.
light. They said he promoted violence, he promoted hate
Yeah.
speech. One day, this was around 2015, I decided to actually sit down and listen to him. I didn't hear anything that promoted hate speech, that was anti Semitic, nothing like
Nope.
that.
Same here. Growing up, he was pretty much the devil as far as how he was presented to me as a child. For one thing, they were like, he's Muslim. So
Yeah.
you don't need to listen to him because he's not talking about Jesus. And so then he was painted as, he's hateful, he's racist and all this stuff. And I came across a YouTube video of him speaking,
Hmm.
and he was saying a lot that made sense concerning the community, the black community. And I told my dad, because my dad listens to him too, and
Does
we're
he?
Christians, but my dad said that, and I'm the same way, he eats the meat and spits out the bones. And he was like, if somebody's giving you good information, he said, you take that information and do what you need to do with it. He said, you don't sit around worrying about what's this person believing, how are they living their life, yada, yada, yada.
Right.
He was like, that's none of your concern. And he said, if they're giving you good information, he said, why can't you receive it?
Right.
That's how I feel about it. I'm like, he says a lot of things that make sense to me, but that doesn't mean I want to go follow him somewhere. But I can receive what he's saying.
Yes. I feel the same way. I do. When Michael Jackson was accused of molesting that 13-year-old boy back in, I think it was around 1993. Do you remember that when that was in the news?
You remember the show Hard Copy that used to come on?
The tabloid show.
You remember that?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Hard
And
Copy.
I remember I was watching with my mom one night, and Latoya Jackson was on there, and I remember she was just dogging Michael out. And I was just thinking, why is his sister talking about him like this? And it made me sad. Cause
Yeah.
I was just like, look how she's talking about her brother. And later on she said she was told to do that by her husband at the time because he was abusing her.
He still is the black sheep of the.
She is the black sheep. And
Oh,
I
man.
remember Michael's career took a big hit.
It did.
Things just weren't the same anymore for him. And I saw a change in him.
Yeah,
And
it took its
then
toll on him.
hmm I believe that's what finally led to him leaving here. It was just too much to handle.
I love how Janet stuck by Michael throughout all of the chaos that was going on around him with the accusations. During that time, she was about to sign a deal with Coke, which she could have made a lot of money from, but eventually the allegations about her brother come out, and Coke decides to pull the plug on her partnership with them. So she missed out on a lot of money, but she never resented her brother for that. She stuck by him and even worked on the song and recorded the song Scream with her brother to show her support.
I know I looked up and all of a sudden he was marrying Lisa Marie, and I'm like, what's that about?
I'm pretty sure it was a publicity stunt.
Mm-hmm.
He was investigated by the feds and they found nothing on him. They couldn't find anything.
Right.
He paid off the family too. I think he paid them several millions of dollars so that it would
Mm-hmm.
go away. The second time he didn't, but the first time he did. And one of those families, I don't know if it's the first accusers or the second, they actually publicly came out and said that they made the whole thing up.
Uh-huh. I remember after he died, one of the dads came forth
Yeah,
and he admitted that it was all just a ploy for money.
yes, which is sad.
That's very sad.
I really hate the way that they treated him. Even at that age, 93, I'm 11, 12 years old, I felt really bad for Michael Jackson.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I knew that he was innocent, and I wanted him to be found innocent.
Me too. Even as a kid, in the 80s, Michael Jackson, he was the king.
Yes, the king of pop.
Yeah, he was the king of pop, and to see him go through that even as a kid, I felt so bad for him. I really did. He was like family. I felt like I knew
Definitely.
Michael.
A lot of people did, and he had fans from
Hmm.
all different walks of life, different
Right.
nationalities, worldwide. You know what I find really strange? Michael Jackson, Prince, Whitney Houston, those were three
Yes.
big stars of the 80s into the
Right.
90s are all gone now. Black artists, black
And those three
superstars.
deaths. really affected me. It was bad because, these are people as far back as I can remember. I have I have listened to their music, growing up in the 80s and 90s, and
Yes.
oh my goodness, it was so hard when I'm one of Prince's biggest fans, and when he passed, like, people were calling my phone
Are
like,
you?
"Do I need to come spend the night with you? You're not gonna hurt yourself." And I'm
Yeah,
like, "No, I'm okay." But people knew how I felt about him and still feel about him, and everybody was just so concerned. But with all three of them, because I'm a huge fan of all three. Just the way they died, it was so upsetting.
devastating. It was. There are conspiracy theories out there about all three of them. They
Yep.
said that Prince was actually murdered, that it had something to do with his former record label about getting the
Mhm.
rights back to his music.
Yes, he had just acquired his masters.
Right, exactly. And
Mhm.
if that's the case, I'm not surprised if something like that would happen.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, some of the things that people are capable of, you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, it's a lot of darkness in the industry,
Yes,
and
that's why I don't think I could make it in that industry. Even though I love
mhm.
music,
Mhm.
I just don't have that in me. I'm not a cutthroat person.
Me neither.
No.
No, I heard rumors that Clive Davis told Whitney before she died that he said it jokingly, but you just never know what somebody really means. Some industry insider said that he jokingly said to her, you're worth more to me dead than alive."
Oh, did he really say that to her?
I don't know. It was somebody that's in the industry. They spoke to some publication, but anonymously, of course.
Yes.
They said they were in a meeting with them, and they were talking about, helping Whitney come back. And he said that Clive jokingly told her that, you're worth more dead to me than alive. And
Ooh.
he said it was like this nervous laughter because nobody really knew how to respond to that. How could you say that to somebody?
Exactly. Someone you've molded and you followed their
Yes. I
career.
mean, he was her
Way.
mentor.
Exactly. Wow.
He said then he looks up and they're saying, "Oh, they found Whitney's body
Mhm.
upstairs." He was at that Grammy party,
Yeah.
and he said, and he was so disgusted that the party was still going on, and she's laying upstairs dead.
Oh my gosh.
But
I didn't know that. I never
yeah,
heard that story.
I read that on an article.
Wow. I don't hear much about Clive Davis now. I know he's up there in age. He's still alive as far as I
Mhm.
know. The whole entertainment industry, Hollywood, it seems very satanic.
Mhm.
It's like you have to sell your soul in order to achieve a certain amount of success.
Mhm.
Otherwise, you just fall off. It
Yeah.
can either make you or break you. It's
Yep.
like that.
You'll see people that were out when we were kids. It's so many people from the 90s that I can think of, or even the 80s. And I'm just like, what happened to this person? Because they thought they were going to be like this huge star.
Hmm.
You'll see like these Where Are They Now specials, and some of them will actually come out and say, I didn't want to play the game. And so now I'm working at the grocery store or something, they're like,
Yeah.
I know Emil said that, the rapper that Jay-Z discovered, and she works at Macy's in New York.
Yeah, I remember Emil who was in that song Can I Get a.
Uh-huh.
I heard that the story about her working at Macy's was an urban legend. There was another source that said that she is living in North Carolina now with her family, that she left New York.
She did a song about that. She said she would rather have her peace than to be doing what she was doing.
Well, good for her. I have
Hmm.
respect for her for doing that.
I do too.
Definitely. Some things just aren't worth it. Even though you could
Mm-mm.
have money, success, a comfortable life maybe, but I don't know, at what cost?
It's not worth it to sell your soul.
No, it's not because we're only here in this life. This is what I believe. It sounds like you believe it too from what you've told me. We're only here for a short amount of time. Life is only but so long. I'm more concerned about where I'm going to spend eternity, where my soul is going to
Exactly.
go. Yeah.
Right. Because that's way longer than what we're doing here.
Yeah, and I'm not a hardcore Christian. I don't attend services currently, but I still believe in God. I still pray.
That's what it's about.
Yeah, even with me being trans, and I know that there are some people in the religious community who frown upon that, I still couldn't turn my back on God. And I don't think God is that judgmental to turn his back on someone
Mm-mm.
just because they're trans or they're
I don't
gay.
believe that either. I
Yeah,
don't. To me, it's about the relationship that you have with God. That's what it's about to me.
yeah, because a lot of the Bible was changed.
Yes. Me and my dad have been talking a lot about that lately because he's been doing some research and finding some things and sharing it with me. And I'm just like, whoa.
During slavery times, they gave our ancestors slave Bibles that omitted a lot of what was in the Bible.
Yeah, that's what we were just talking about that. He was just telling me that. And I didn't know that.
Yeah. Do you remember when that tape of Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee came out?
Oh my goodness, I was just thinking about that because that movie just came out on Hulu. About Tommy and Pam. Uh-huh. They just made a movie about them.
Wow, I remember that year. I think it was around 96. I never saw the tape.
I didn't either. That's what made me think of it because this movie has just come out about their life.
Hmm.
I said, "Oh, I remember when that tape came out." And it's like nothing like that had ever happened before.
No, it was new. Yeah, we didn't have smartphones or
Now that's like the thing for celebrities to have sex tapes, but not then.
That's how Kim Kardashian became a household name. She made a tape.
Oh yeah, we wouldn't even know her if it wasn't for that tape with Ray J. We wouldn't even know who she was. I didn't even know she was Robert Kardashian's daughter.
Neither did I. Oh, speaking of that, sorry to bring up OJ again.
Oh, it's okay.
I read Caitlyn Jenner's book a few years back. In that book, Kris Jenner was close friends with Nicole Brown Simpson, and of course she knew OJ. Nicole Brown Simpson told Kris Jenner that she hated her husband, OJ, so much that whenever he would leave out of town on a trip or take a flight somewhere, she would hope that his plane would crash.
Whoa. Now that's hatred.
It is. Gee,
Goodness. Yeah, I forgot that they were friends. They were close.
they were close, yes. Wow. So the internet. The internet came on the scene around the mid 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember when Windows 95 and AOL launched?
Uh-huh. I did my first internet search in school. I think it was like sixth grade. 95, 96, something. Yeah.
Oh, really? You had internet access at your school as early as 1996?
Yeah, it was just on this one computer. I don't know what that was about, but it was
Wow.
in the computer room. This one computer, the computer teacher was explaining to us about the internet.
Hmm.
It's just weird thinking about it now because like he was explaining to us what it was. It was like this, you know how computers look then, and
Yeah,
this thing that he had where he was showing us the internet, it was big and bulky.
yeah. You had the tower.
Yeah, we were like, "Wow, what is this?" Fast forward to maybe 99, we got AOL. It was like 99, 2000.
Do you remember those discs, the startup discs that they would send you in the mail?
Yeah,
AOL
those
3.0.
floppy disks.
No, no, they were
Oh my god,
CDs,
and
the
then you
CD-ROMs. They would send in
Oh
the
yeah,
mail
yeah.
to get you to sign up for
Yes.
AOL, America
I do.
Online.
Yeah, when they want you to sign up.
Yeah,
And that man would come on there, "You've got mail."
Yeah, You've Got Mail. Remember that movie with Meg Ryan and who was it? Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks, yes.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I think that was like 99.
Yeah, that was
And
98. That was in high school. End of
it was
my high school.
98. Oh yes,
Yeah.
it was because I think that was the beginning of freshman year.
Okay.
I remember or maybe it was the end of 8th grade. I do remember I'd be on there, and then my mom would be like, can you get off? I need the phone. You know?
Oh, wow. Yeah, because you had the
Or
dial-up
she would
connection.
pick it up.
Yeah.
She'd pick up the phone and it would knock me off.
Or you'd get that when the modem was down.
Mm-hmm. That's
It seems so primitive now. My gosh. Well, you had internet access before I did. I didn't have internet access. Well, the first time I got online was 1998. It was at the end of 1998, and I went to one of the community college campuses here and went online. The show Extra, I went on their website and just kind of,
mm-hmm.
looked around. But my senior year of high school, 1999, we had one computer in the library that had dial up internet, and it was only for the teachers to use. Only teachers could use it.
Mm-hmm. That's how ours was.
Yeah, we didn't have internet in high school, nothing like that. And I don't remember anyone having a cell phone
Mm-mm.
or even a tattoo.
99, everybody had pagers. We didn't have cell phones yet, but everybody had a pager except me. Because my parents like, you don't need that.
No need to feel left out, Tracy. I was also pagerless back in 1999, and that was all right because I wasn't one of the cool kids. I don't remember anyone in school having one, but maybe there were kids that had them. Mm-hmm.
Everybody got phones before I did. And I finally was able to get my Nokia. I had that phone forever.
Yeah. Do you still have it?
I would have if this crackhead hadn't broken into my home and taken it. I would still have it.
Did he steal it back in the day, or did he steal it more recently once it was obsolete?
This happened like maybe 8 years ago.
Yeah, it was obsolete. What would you want with that?
I don't know.
Maybe it's one of those relics from the past that was worth a lot of money to them.
I had two of them, and then I had those little flip phones that came out. The flip phones that everybody had.
Yes, I remember those.
I had a couple of those, and I wasn't using them. I kept them just because I'm like, it's my childhood. It's a cute little keepsake. I come home and somebody has stolen my pain medicine and my
Oh,
old cell
no.
phones. So I said it had to be a crackhead.
A druggie, definitely.
Mhm.
Wow.
It had to be.
I didn't get my first cell phone until 2003 when I went off to college. I was 22.
Wow.
And it was a Virgin Mobile prepaid phone. I still have it somewhere. I kept it. My parents talked me into getting it because I was driving up to Boston from Florida. That was the only reason why I got it.
Oh yeah.
There were days when I would forget to bring my phone with me, or I would run out of minutes for a certain amount of time. I wouldn't use my phone. But now, my iPhone is like a ball and chain. I take it with me everywhere.
Right, and that's the thing. It's like now, I can't imagine I having my phone. My mom would drop me off somewhere and she give me a couple of quarters. Call me when you're ready to come
Yeah, the
home.
payphone.
Yeah. But now sometimes when I'm in the store, I think about something and I'm like, I can pull out my phone and call my husband, "Hey, do we need such and such?" But I'm just like, "What did we do before that?"
We couldn't do anything. But we turned out okay. Everything was okay.
Right.
We
We did. We
survived.
turned out fine. My daughter, her phone is glued to her hand. She's 15, almost 16.
Yeah, these kids today, even my 12-year-old nephew and my 19-year-old nephew, they're glued to their phones. After a while, I get bored with it. I have to put it down. I can't stare at a screen for a certain length of time. I have to just Get up and do something.
That's because we're from a different time and place,
Yeah, we
and
are.
we played, and it was just different.
Yeah. Where were you when you found out that Tupac and Biggie were shot?
Ooh, Tupac. I found out he was shot watching MTV. I believe it was Kurt Loder that
Yeah,
broke in.
MTV News.
Yes, and I found out everything from Kurt Loder.
Yeah, I remember Kurt Loder.
I remember when Tupac died, I was in the back of my parents' car. We were headed to my grandma's house, and they came on the radio station here, and they said, he had passed, and I cried all the way to my grandma's. So when we got there,
Crying, huh?
yeah, I cried. I was a huge fan. Still am a huge fan.
Yeah.
And my grandma was like, "What's wrong with you?" And I said, "Grandma, Tupac died." She was like, "What's a Tupac, honey?"
Oh my.
you know, I'll never forget that. I was like, "Grandma, you don't know Tupac?" I was just so hurt.
Yeah.
I remember that. And then we went to the fair that night. At the fair, every ride you went on was playing a Tupac song.
Oh, really?
I remember that.
Yeah. So you're what, like middle school during that time?
I had just started 7th grade.
Okay. Yeah, I was, I think, a sophomore, more in high school. I was about 15. Yeah. My older sister told me. First, she told me he was in critical condition because he went to, I think it was a Mike Tyson fight.
It was a Tyson fight.
Yeah, Tyson fight. That's where he was shot. I think he was shot in the building. And was it a casino or somewhere like that?
He had a fight in the casino,
Uh,
and then he got in the car with Suge, and then those guys trailed him from the casino and
oh,
pulled up beside him in
yeah.
traffic.
Because I remember that from the movie now too. Yeah.
Mhm.
I didn't buy any of Tupac's albums, but I would listen to his music whenever it would come on the radio. The albums I just couldn't handle, the explicit lyrics and all of that.
Mhm.
I respected him as a rapper, and a lot of what he said was real.
Yeah.
What I think happened, he was just becoming too powerful. The media created that whole East Coast, West Coast beef.
Looking back at it, I'm like, well, that was so manufactured. And I didn't see it then as a kid.
Yeah.
It's so unfortunate when you look back at it now. It looks so silly. Him and Biggie had to lose their lives.
Yeah, and they were so young. Tupac was 25 and Biggie was 25
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, and you forget that they were so young.
They were. They were.
Look at all they accomplished. And
Yes.
Biggie, I wasn't as big a fan of Biggie as I was Tupac, but I did I respected Biggie, respected his hustle. I did like him as a rapper.
Yeah.
When he passed, it was very sad, but it didn't hit me like it did Tupac.
Yeah.
I remember when he was killed as well. I remember seeing it on TV.
Mhm.
Just feeling real bad. Like why?
Yeah. Cuz it happened a few months after Tupac died cuz Tupac died
Right.
in September of 96 and
Mhm.
Biggie died in yeah, March of 1997.
It was March of '97. That's right.
Yeah, gosh, yeah, looking back on that now, it was sad how their lives were cut short like that, but
Mhm.
sometimes I'll go back and watch a Tupac interview, and he seemed a lot wiser than someone who was in their early to mid 20s. I mean, you listen to him
Right.
talk, and he just seemed like he was beyond his years. I even
He
watched some of his high
was.
school interviews, and some of the things that he was talking about still relevant today. He just seemed like he
Mhm.
was ahead of his time in a lot of ways.
He was. Every interview he was just dropping knowledge, and when I was a kid, I knew he was saying some deep things, but it took me getting older to really grasp
Right.
what he was really putting out there. And now when I look back, I'm like, man, this guy, is he an alien? Like
Yeah, really. As far as their lyrical content, it seemed like Tupac rapped more about real things than Biggie did. Biggie, a lot of his music was more
Mhm.
about materialism.
Mhm.
Not to say that all of it was, because I would listen to his music on the radio, but I wouldn't buy the records because I just,
Right.
couldn't handle it. Yeah, I couldn't. I respect both of them as rappers. They're legends, and I think they were two of the best, in my opinion, that ever lived.
Definitely. Definitely.
I find it odd that no one was charged with either one of their deaths, Tupac or Notorious Big. There are listed suspects online, but none of them were actually charged with their murders. And it wouldn't surprise me if the police departments had some involvement in both of their deaths. Both of them were just becoming too powerful. Their influence was. Both of their murders are still unsolved, and they were both fatally shot in the exact same way. I will give mention to another rapper who is no longer with us either. He's very underrated. He was very good at what he did too. I definitely think that he's should be in the top 10 of all time rappers. Is Heavy D.
Oh yeah. Oh, I loved Heavy D.
The overweight lover.
Yeah, the overweight lover. My mama loved her some Heavy D. Every time he'd be on TV, whether it's a video or he was performing at a award show. My
Mhm.
mom was like, "Oh, I love to see that big man dance." Even though he was heavy, he was real light on his feet. He could throw down.
He was, and he was such a great rapper. He did both themes for In Living Color too.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah.
Ooh, my show. You just brought up my show.
Yeah, the second time we brought it up. And we'll probably bring it up again too.
Yeah.
What I liked about Heavy D, he came out of the 80s, but even during the gangster rap era, he
Mhm.
was still very relevant.
He was.
And his rap was positive. He didn't go the route of talking about negative things. He never really changed his style that much.
He did not, and he still had respect.
Yeah, which I thought was cool. There weren't many rappers that came out of the 80s that were able to transition into the new era of hip hop.
Mm-mm. Like look at Will Smith and
Mhm.
Kid and Play,
Yeah.
MC Hammer. And I remember MC Hammer. Do you remember when he hooked up with Death Row? He started trying to come off like a thug, and everybody took
Yeah,
him for
pumps
a
in a
joke.
bump, pumps in a
Yeah, pumps in a bump. And everybody was like, "Child, sit down."
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
Everybody was like, "What are you doing?"
that wasn't him. He was known for being a good guy.
That era right there for MC Hammer, it was just low key embarrassing because I'm like, that's not even you.
Yeah, definitely. And my older sister asked me, "Have you seen the new MC Hammer?" And I'm like, "No, I haven't." Then I see it and I'm like, "Oh my gosh. Is that really him?" Remember he dropped the MC and started going by Hammer. That wasn't a good look for him. Wearing the Speedo, he went from wearing parachute pants to a Speedo. But the thing about MC Hammer, though, I think his problem was he tried to help too many people.
Yes, I agree.
Everyone from off the street that he knew in Oakland or wherever,
Hmm.
he would make them part of his entourage.
He want to take care of all of Oakland.
Yeah, pretty much. And now Oakland's gentrified big time. I was going to say something. I can't remember what I was going to say. Oh, yeah. Have you heard this story? It was online. A guy was telling it. I think it's from a few years back, but he said that in the early 90s, around 1991,
Hmm.
these record execs had a meeting with a lot of the rappers that were
Mm.
in the industry at the time.
Hmm.
Basically, they told them, I mean, these executives were all, white and Jewish guys. And no, I am not being anti Semitic. I have great respect for the Jewish community. You know, they'll come after you for that.
Exactly.
These executives, they were saying, okay, this is the direction that we're going to take hip hop music going into the 90s. You probably noticed this too, but around late 92, 93, there was a shift in what
Hmm.
the artists were rapping about. Before, it was more about empowerment and bettering yourself. But after
And
that,
changed.
yeah, it became to, drugs, smoking weed, drinking, malt liquor and things like that, disrespecting women.
I remember reading that article. I said, you know what? This makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Hip hop was hijacked in the 90s, in the early
Hmm.
90s. It's still, for the last 30 years now almost, it's been in that state. Kids see this growing up and they try to emulate that. If you live your life getting high all the time, going out having, a lot of baby mamas, that's a path of self destruction.
Yes.
That can't lead to anything good. I'm calling out the males, but I'm also calling out the female rappers too. Like the ones like Cardi B and Meg the Stallion and artists like that.
Hmm.
If a girl lives her life putting herself out there like that, that in most cases is going to lead to a tragic ending.
Yeah, I agree.
A lot of these girls, they come from single parent households. They don't have their fathers in their lives to tell
Hmm.
them that they're beautiful and that they're worthy and that they're valid. But
Yes.
instead, they think that in order to receive attention from a man or receive opportunities in life, that they have to carry themselves in such a way to get the respect and attention that they crave.
Hmm. Even girls like me that grew up with a great father. I'm a daddy's girl,
Yes.
and I was majorly influenced by Little Kim and Foxy Brown
Yeah.
in the 90s.
Yeah.
I had colored wigs. Now I wasn't allowed to wear them outside my bedroom,
Mm-hmm.
but I had them to play with. I'd be in the mirror, I'd be rapping the lyrics, and when Trina came out, like
Mm-hmm.
I was rapping all the lyrics, and then one day I was rapping, it may have been Trina. I was rapping somebody's song, and I really stopped and listened to what I was saying. And I'm just like, ew. And I didn't like that.
Yeah.
And at that moment, I'm like, hold on. It's more than just saying, I'm enjoying this song. Like, what am I really saying?
Yes.
And I noticed how those things were influencing me, because I was somebody in the 90s. Girls were like Aaliyah or Escape. We were
Oh, love
tomboys.
the Leah.
Oh my goodness, that's a whole nother.
It's funny that you bring up Aaliyah and you mentioned Little Kim a little earlier. Last night I was thinking about Aaliyah. I always liked Aaliyah because there was just something mysterious about her that I liked that made me like her. I was watching an interview. It's from around 1999. It was her, Lil Kim, Missy Elliott, and the Brat.
Oh wow.
It was an MTV interview. Looking at Lil Kim, she was an attractive lady. The things that she rapped about weren't very attractive. It's just
Mhm.
sad that she never felt beautiful and she ended up changing herself like that.
I mean, she's unrecognizable.
Yeah, she is. Aaliyah, just seeing how young she was maybe 20 at the time, but she seemed like she was older than 20.
She was beyond her years too.
The way she carried herself when she died back in 2001, yeah, that was such a sad occasion when that happened.
Yes, her and Left Eye.
Yeah, Left Eye from TLC too. My younger
Oof.
sister, she called me from her job. My sister, I think she was in high school at the time. I was in college. She
Mhm.
called me and asked me if it was true that Aaliyah had died in the plane crash, and I told her I don't know. So I turned on MTV, and sure enough,
Mhm.
it was true.
That's where I saw it. I was out that night with my friends. We were out literally like 3 or 4 in the morning.
Yes.
We were listening to the local station here. They were playing Aaliyah, Aaliyah. I told my sister, I said, "Is it Leah's birthday?" Like why they
Yeah.
keep playing her songs? But nobody was coming on air and saying anything. The songs were just playing.
Yes.
And so, we didn't think nothing else of it. But when I woke up the next afternoon, I was just like, oh no. I turned on MTV and that's the first thing I saw. And it had her birth date and her death date. And I was just like, what in the world? I was done.
So sad. Yeah. Hmm. Do you have a favorite song by her?
Oh, that's hard.
If you can't answer, I understand.
It's off of her final album, and it's called "It's Whatever." That's my favorite song by her.
I don't think I know that one. I'll have to look for that.
Yeah, it's a very pretty love song,
Oh,
and I think that's my favorite by her.
yeah, because even before Beyonce broke out as a solo artist, we had Aaliyah, and she was.
Mhm.
I liked her more than I did Beyonce because Aaliyah, she seemed more original than Beyonce.
A lot of people say that Beyonce picked up where Aaliyah left off. I was a Beyonce fan, but I didn't make a connection between her and Aaliyah like some other people did. You
Yes,
know, that's not taking anything away from her, but like Aaliyah, she was in her own lane.
she
I
was.
just couldn't see anybody to compare to her. You know, at the time when we were growing up, it was Brandy, Monica, and Aaliyah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
They were the three
they were.
as far as like our black teen stars.
Yes.
And she was my favorite. Leah was my favorite, and I like Monica because she seemed like the real one.
Yeah.
She was that rough around the edges.
I like Maya too.
Oh yeah, I loved Maya. Oh, I remember when I first heard "It's All About Me." I was at my friend's house.
Yeah, with Cisco.
Yes, her and Cisco were dancing. I said, "Who is that dancing with Cisco?"
Yeah.
And I didn't know who that girl was, but I was an instant fan. And I told my dad about her, and he went out and bought the CD. And I mean, I wore that CD out. I don't even know where it is today.
Yeah, my younger sister had the CD. She actually did a Christmas movie this past Christmas. I don't know if you saw it.
No, I didn't know that.
First, she was an artist and she became a music teacher in the movie. It was a good movie. She did a very
Wow,
good
I have
job.
to look it up.
Do you remember when Mike Tyson bit Evander Holyfield's ear?
Yeah, I didn't see it, but
What did you think of that?
my dad came home and told us about it. He went to my uncle's house to watch the fight,
Uh-huh.
and he came back, and my mom was like, "How was the fight?" He was like, "Tyson bit Holyfield's ear off." And we were like, "What?"
Yeah, it was crazy. I'm not into boxing and I didn't see the fight, but I remember the night of the fight, I was about 16 or so. My
Mhm.
dad and I, because my parents owned a furniture store, we had a delivery and we were delivering at a police officer's house and he and my dad were talking about the fight. The next morning I found out that Mike Tyson bit part of his ear off because he was losing.
Yeah, he had a temper tantrum.
Yeah, definitely changed a lot. He seems more centered now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like how you put that more center. He's very different from the Mike Tyson that I knew as a child. Cause he was a little scary when I was a child.
Yeah, remember Robin Gibbons was married to him at one time too.
That's what I was just about to say. He was with her, and I remember people joking and saying it was like a Beauty and the Beast situation.
Yeah, Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah. I was like 5.
Uh-huh.
Even as a 5-year-old, I just wondered why she was married to him.
And the sad part is he could have been one of the greatest boxers of all time though.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got mixed up with Don King because he was involved with Don King and Don King I guess kind of led his career down the wrong road. And some of the things that Mike Tyson did too, but I
Yeah,
heard
when he
he
caught that charge, that was it.
but you know what happened? They later found out that she was lying.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that. That was terrible.
He made so much money and then, I think in the early 2000s he filed for bankruptcy or something like that, which is sad.
Mhm. I remember that.
Do you remember when Princess Diana was involved in the car accident that killed her and her fiance,
Yes.
Dodi Al Fayed?
Yes, I remember we were watching something that night and it went off and it came on that she was in the accident.
Yeah.
And so I remember just we set up literally all night until we heard that she had passed. My mom just kept saying, "I don't think she survived." My mom was like, I think they're telling us that she's injured, but she's already gone. They just don't want to announce it." And so then they announced it. And I love Princess Diana.
I liked her too. She was different from the royal family. I
Hmm.
was 16 and working at Burger King. I came home that night. My dad called us from where he was that night and told us that she was involved in a car accident. We turned on the TV, and sure enough, looking at that car, I was like, there's no way she could have survived that.
Hmm.
I was really into the show Extra at that time. I had a crush on the host of the show. I would videotape that show religiously. Her name was Maureen O'Boyle. I had a huge crush on her.
Yes, I remember her.
A lot of their stories were about Princess Diana, Donald Trump, Michael Jackson, Michael
Hmm.
Jordan. Back then, they talked about real people too, non celebrities. But now, that show, I guess it's all about celebrities nowadays.
Yeah, it's different.
I watched the show mainly for her. Yeah, maybe I can have her on the podcast one day. I don't know. It was sad when she died. I still have those tapes
It
of
was.
them covering her funeral and all. Yeah,
I had it, and I don't even know where it is. It's probably in my parents' garage.
could be.
I have a lot of VHS tapes there. I know that's one tape that I had. I had the coverage of her death, and then I had the funeral.
Yes. Do you still have a VCR?
I don't. I had one up until a couple of years ago, and it just decided it didn't want to be alive anymore, and
Oh
it
no.
left. So, yeah.
Did it eat tapes?
It was like, yeah, I think I've been in this world long enough, and it just went it went on.
I still have one, and I kept a lot of my VHS tapes. I have like a DVD VCR combo. The DVD records DVDs, and
Hmm.
the VCR can play and record tapes. Because I
Wow.
said I'm not buying a DVD player until the recordable ones come out. So I bought this in Canada back in 2005. I think it was stolen though. I think it was a display model that was stolen from an electronics store. I still have it today and it works. And I paid money for it. I didn't steal anything. So why should I feel guilty?
Right, you shouldn't. You paid your money.
It still works. It's fully functional. I had to buy the remote for it. It cost me, I think, $130 back in 2005.
Wow, for the remote?
Yes, and I was so upset because when I bought the DVD or the player recorder anyway, the VCR and DVD, I
Hmm.
thought that I was getting a remote with it too. I drove out there. I was in Toronto visiting from Boston. I drove to the town that they were selling it to pick it up. It was in some type of warehouse room, small room, and there were two young ladies working there. They were very attractive. It seemed very shady to me. I was just trying to get what I wanted and get out of there. Maybe they were working for the Homeboy Shopping Network. This is me mentioning In Living Color for the third time, by the way. That's how I ended up with my VCR DVD combo that records
Wow.
DVDs and VHS. Yeah.
I wish I had that.
Do you remember the Y2K bug?
Yes.
Did that scare you at all?
I was very scared because they were making it like once midnight came, the world was going to end or something really bad or weird was going to happen. I didn't know what was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And the best memory of that New Year's Eve was Prince singing 1999.
Yeah. Yeah.
He sang it on Dick Clark's Countdown.
They played that song at my high school graduation too.
Really?
Yep. They played 1999 and they had balloons over us that were supposed to drop on us. I guess the switch or something was stuck, so the balloons couldn't fall.
Oh no.
Yeah, but we got to dance to 1999 at my high school graduation. 1999 was playing, and all of us were dancing and looking up and pointing up and trying to give a signal, but the balloons never came down. But we still had fun celebrating our high school graduation. It's my favorite memory from my favorite year of my life so far.
I'm sure a lot of graduations that year use that.
Yeah. On New Year's Day, 1999, MTV2, they played that video nonstop all day.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they played that song on MTV2 all day long, 24 hours in a row.
Now MTV doesn't even play music. If you want to see the videos, you have to watch MTV too.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the videos probably aren't worth anything anyway. They're probably just like current stuff.
Mm-mm. No, it's not like when we were coming up and a video would be like, like a movie. There'd be a story.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's just like people twerking by a car or
Oh,
something.
crazy, crazy. But the Y2K thing, I wasn't really that scared. I first heard about it in 1996,
hmm
and they were saying that the computers aren't Y2K compliant. Make sure your computer's Y2K compliant. One guy was telling me, this was in 1999, the end of 1999, to withdraw all of my money from my bank accounts and then redeposit everything back on January 2nd because it was going to be bad. Those who don't will lose everything. I didn't do it. People were just freaking out about it for nothing.
Right, and nothing happened.
Right, absolutely nothing happened. Maybe there would have been a problem, but if there would have been a problem, I guess they did a good job of fixing it and taking care of it. Yeah, it was pretty big news during that time.
hmm
Yeah. So Tracy, what was life like for you in the 90s?
Oh, life was so good. Just playing with my friends and watching all the great shows that were out then and listening to music. That's when MTV and BET and VH1, they were music channels. It
Right.
wasn't, a bunch of reality shows or weird stuff. It was actually music, watching Video Soul and
Yeah, with Donnie
TRL,
Simpson.
yeah, with Donnie Simpson, Sherry Carter.
Oh, I loved Sherry Carter. A lot of people did. Yes, yes, yes. And Carson Daly hosted TRL back then.
I don't know. It was just such a happy time for me.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's something about the 90s that it just can't be recaptured. You just had to be there.
I think it was the last great decade.
Mhm.
After that, like I said, after 9/11, I think things just kind of
Mhm.
started going downhill from there.
Yeah, that's when things changed for me. That day, nothing was the same again. I knew that it wouldn't be the same again.
Yeah. Did you play outside a lot?
Oh yeah. I come in, I might watch a little TV. By then one of my friends would be knocking at the door. Can Tracy come out? We just go from house to house, yard to yard,
Yeah.
and we play kickball. I mean, sometimes we just do like races down the street. We just see who could beat each other running. We race our bikes or we skate.
Mm-hmm.
Always doing something, playing basketball. We would be Ninja Turtles and try to do karate on each other and stuff. It was just so much fun.
It was. The early 90s was my childhood because I became a teenager around 1994. The
hmm
early 90s, I was a kid and my sister and I, my younger sister and I, we would get together a lot and we would record songs together. I still have those tapes now. We had sort of like a family act that we did. We had a lot of fun doing that. My sister hates to admit that she did that or even talk about it, but you're only a kid once, you're
That's
only
right.
allowed to be a kid one time in your life. So
hmm
even if you do silly things as a kid or you did silly things, it's nothing to really be ashamed of.
No, I have those same tapes. I have tapes of me and my younger brother and sister, singing and it, you know, it's a little embarrassing, but then at the same time, it's just so cute and it just shows, how we were then.
Yes.
We had no worries. We were just singing and dancing in my room and enjoying ourselves. So,
Yeah.
that's what it's about.
Did you have a dog or a pet?
Mm-mm. I had a rabbit
Oh, did you?
when I was 10.
What was its name?
His name was Willie.
Silly Willy.
I named him William Wyatt after one of the governors here in Alabama. I don't know if he was the first governor. It was something about him being governor. I don't know if he was the first one. So I named him William Wyatt after him because I just like that name.
Yeah.
And then we called him Willie. He got a girlfriend and ran away. So
Oh,
that was that. My dad told me because I begged him for that rabbit. We went to the pet store in the mall, and he said, "If I get this rabbit, I'm not taking care of it. This is your rabbit." I was like, "I'll take care of it." And then my dad was the one taking care of him. I helped.
yeah. How old were you?
I was almost 10 when we got him, and then after I turned 10, he ran away.
Oh, your rabbit ran away, huh?
Yeah, I noticed a rabbit hanging around his cage at night when I would go out there and check on him before
Oh,
bed.
you kept it outside?
Uh-huh, he lived outside. My
Oh,
dad built him a house.
oh, okay,
He
nice.
had a cage, but he had a house that he could go in.
Mm-hmm.
He lived in that. He would dig out of the cage and go run around with this rabbit. So next thing we knew, there were baby rabbits coming around to see him.
Oh, really? Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
And so my dad was like, I think Willie has kids.
Yeah.
So one day we came outside and Willie was gone. All the rabbits that were visiting him, they were gone.
Really?
And I never saw him again.
Oh, how sad. Well, I guess you can laugh about it now.
Very sad then.
Yeah.
My dad was like, that's why I didn't want to get you a pet, because things like this happen. And he said, now you upset. That was it for me and pets.
Yeah. Wow. I had a dog and I had a turtle. My turtle's name was Tony.
Oh, wow.
My dog's name was Snowball. We got him in the summer of 91. My dad had just gone out to sea for 6 months. My mother, she took us out that Saturday. I think we saw Ninja Turtles 2 or something like that. We went to the convenience store that evening, and my older sister noticed a sign in the convenience store window that said, "Free white and fluffy puppies." So we wrote down the number, because back then you wrote down numbers.
Mm-hmm.
We got dinner started and went out to the address. My mother said, I'm not going to make any promises. We're just coming here to look. There were a bunch of these cute puppies running around the front yard, and I think her son was mowing the lawn, scaring them with the lawnmower. I picked one up, and I think my younger sister had one, and my older sister had one. I took a liking to the one that I had, but my older sister said, "No, I want this one." I said, "Okay, let's get that one." And we had Snowball. We got him in June of 91, and he lived to be 14. He died while I was in college, but to this day,
Wow.
he was my best friend. I spent a lot of time with Snowball, especially as I got older. I would take him out for walks, I would talk to him. He would never answer back. Then, around 99, I started keeping an audio journal. I would record, make entries in my audio journal whenever I would take him out to walk.
Wow.
We spent a lot of time together, but yeah, he died while I was in college, and my dad found him one evening in the backyard and he didn't respond.
Oh, no.
My dad felt him and he was still warm, so my dad told me he had just died.
Mm.
My dad called me, I think, the next day and told me that Snowball had passed away. And I had just come back from my internship. I was about to go out to a party that they were having on campus. My friend and I were going to, but I told my friend, I'm just not in the mood tonight.
Yeah.
He went there for a little while, but ended up coming back. That night, I just couldn't sleep. So I went to my friend's room. His roommate wasn't there at the time. I think they were at home or something. So We just stayed up that whole night just talking about life and, different things. Couple days later, I was in Boston on the Boston Common. It's a park there right in the center of downtown.
Mhm.
It was nighttime, it was dark, and a lot of people, they'll let their dogs roam around in the park. I saw a shadow of a dog that looked a lot like Snowball. The dog just stopped. The dog was maybe about 50 feet away from me, but it
Mhm.
looked like Snowball. I couldn't really see the dog, but I saw the shadow.
Wow.
The dog just stopped, looked at me, and I said, Snowball. Then the dog just ran off.
What?
I turned around and started walking the other way. Then I turned around again. I didn't see anything. I didn't see the dog. So I
Mm.
think that was Snowball saying goodbye.
Right. Since you weren't there.
My belief is when I get to heaven, Snowball is probably going to be one of the first ones that I see.
Yes.
He's going to be there greeting me,
Yes.
wagging his little tail.
That is
Yeah.
something. I believe that he wanted to tell you goodbye.
Yeah, I think that was his way of saying goodbye.
Mhm.
We had a pretty good life in the 90s. No family's perfect. As I got older, I began to work more. My parents had a furniture store. At one time, we had a booth out in the flea market. Mainly my dad and I, we would work that on the weekends. I got my first job at Burger King in the summer of 97 when I turned 16. And I
Mhm.
worked there for 6 months and I didn't spend any of my money that I made there. The money that I would make at the store, I was basically, using that to buy things that I wanted. But I worked there for 6 months at Burger King and didn't spend a dime of my money.
Wow, I wish I could say the same.
Yeah, I don't know how I did that back then.
Mm-mm. I blew my money from my job.
Really?
I wish I saved. I wish I saved. I worked at a barbecue place when I was in high school. It was from the end of my junior year through the
Hmm.
end of my senior year. I worked there. Every week we got paid every Friday, and every Friday I would go put minutes on my phone, and then me and my friends would go shopping. Mhm. I blew that money.
So you're a spender, huh?
Yeah, I was then. Now I'm totally different because I learned my lesson.
Yes.
And my mom would tell me, she's like, "Why don't you save this? You're gonna be going to college. You'll have some
Mhm.
money saved up." And I'm like, "No, because we're going to the club, and I want to get an
Oh.
outfit because I already wore that other outfit, and just
Uh-huh.
had everything all wrong." And she was like,
Wow.
"Well, that's your money." She said, "As long as you can put minutes on your phone and put in the money towards your car insurance, because I didn't pay my car insurance. They just asked me to put in on it, and so I had a certain amount I had to give them at the end of the month.
Okay.
As long as I took care of my phone and that, they were like, "Well, it's your money. You do what you want to do." But then when it came time to leave, I was like, "Oh, I wish I had all this money that I've made the past year."
When I graduated high school in 1999, I had over 5 grand saved
Oh wow, that's amazing.
at 17 years old.
That is amazing.
I'm a saver by nature. It's really hard to save now, but back then, and even as I got older, I've always tried to save a little something and invest too, whenever I
Mhm.
could. It's so hard to do that now with the way things are, sadly.
Yeah.
You had a car while you were a teenager, huh?
I got my car right before I started senior year. I got it
Okay.
in the beginning of August.
Yes.
It changed my life.
What kind of car was it?
I had a Nissan Sentra, and her
Oh,
name was
really?
Diva.
Oh, you named her, huh?
Yes, all my cars have had names.
Wow.
Me and Diva would be all over the place. I remember driving her home. I was playing Jill Scott's first album on the way home. I
Yes.
was jamming. You couldn't tell me nothing.
Man.
And
Gosh.
I'm
Wow.
like, now I have arrived. I have a job and a car, it's over.
Yeah. I got my license at 16. I didn't actually get my first car until the end of my senior year. I didn't want the responsibility. I was working at Kmart and I had come
Ooh,
home
Kmart.
because I was borrowing my parents' car. Yeah, old school. I pulled into our driveway. There's a car in the driveway. It was a 1990 Hyundai Excel. And my dad, I think, gets out of it and stands by the car and starts smiling at me. Oh my gosh, I was so excited to see that car that was mine. My parents had bought me the car as a graduation present,
Oh, wow.
and that was my first car, a gray 1990 Hyundai Excel. And now I'm on vehicle number 4.
It's nothing like getting out on that road
Mm-hmm.
and it's your car. My parents had an Audi. I drove that car, until I got my own. It's nothing like having the car where they're like, this is your car. That changes everything.
Yeah, I remember filling up my car for the first time and putting, I think, about $8 or $10 in, and that filled it up.
Oh, yeah.
This was like May of 1999, April of 1999.
Gas was so cheap.
Under $1 back then.
Yes. I would put $10 in my car and drive forever.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I miss those days.
I do too. I don't think we should be using gasoline at this point. It's 2022. I know that if they wanted us to use electric cars or some other type of fuel, it's possible. There's so much money involved in big oil,
Mm-hmm.
sadly.
And that's it. It's business.
Yeah, but oil is finite. It's going to run out someday. Maybe not in our lifetimes, but someday it is. And it's not
Mm-hmm.
clean either. It's not a clean fuel source.
Lord, every time I go to fill up, even yesterday I filled up my car and I'm just like, okay, so this is what we're doing now? It was so high. I had to do a double take. I'm like, no, I know that's not the price of this gas. I know that's not the right price.
Do you drive a lot?
Yes.
So you're a road warrior, huh?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Going to work, picking up the kids or taking the kids to things they have to do, plus the things that I do outside of work. And it's always somewhere to go.
Yeah, I can understand that. Luckily, I don't have to drive much. So I'm blessed. I can put, $12 in my car and that will last me maybe a week and a half, possibly longer.
Mm-hmm. Mine is usually like a week.
Yeah. But you're filling it up, right?
Right.
I'm below half a tank whenever I put $12 in, or even 20. I don't think 20 gives me half. I drive a 4-cylinder vehicle, which gives me pretty good gas mileage. But with these prices, that doesn't really count for much. Before we finish this episode, I'd also like to mention the Columbine High School massacre that took place on April 20th of 1999. I was a senior in high school at the time, and I was watching TRL that day, and that's when I first heard about what happened. 15 people lost their lives, most of them were students, during that tragic event. For about a week or two during that time at school, we weren't allowed to go out on hall passes. I'd like to offer my condolences to those who lost family and friends during the massacre at Columbine High in Columbine, Colorado, back in 1999. Coming up will be part 2 of Living in the 90s. Tracy and I will cover music, movies, and TV shows of the 1990s. So definitely be on the lookout for that. You don't want to miss it. Our time is now. Let's change the world.